The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with activity. Aliens of all shapes and sizes moved about, their voices a mix of clicks, whistles, and words. In one corner stood Jack Henderson, Earth's young diplomat. He tried to look confident, but his eyes darted nervously. A tall, blue-skinned alien approached Jack. "Ah, the human. How nice of you to join us," it said with a smirk. "I hope you didn't get lost on your way here. I know how simple your navigation systems are." Jack forced a smile. "Not at all, Ambassador Zix. Our systems work just fine." Zix laughed, a sound like grinding rocks. Of course. Tell me, have you mastered faster-than-light travel yet? Or are you still puttering about in your little chemical rockets?" Before Jack could answer, a group of slug-like creatures slithered up. "Oh look," one of them burbled. "It's the monkey who thinks he's a diplomat." Jack's face turned red, but he kept his cool. He had to. Earth needed friends out here, not more enemies. Across the room, a holographic display showed the known galaxy. Earth was just a tiny dot on the edge, barely visible. Jack stared at it, feeling very small and very far from home. An announcement rang out. "The council meeting will begin in 10 minutes. All representatives, please take your seats." Jack moved towards the grand chamber, but a tentacled alien blocked his way. "Sorry, little human," it gurgled, "but this meeting is for important races only. Why don't you go play with some shiny rocks?" Laughter erupted around him. Jack clenched his fists but said nothing. He walked to his seat, head held high despite the mockery. As the meeting started, Jack listened carefully. Talk of trade routes, border disputes, and scientific discoveries filled the air. When Earth was mentioned, it was always as a joke. And now, the council leader announced, "We must discuss the expansion of the Drachnid Empire. They have taken 3 more systems this month alone." A hush fell over the room. Jack leaned forward, interested. The Drachnids were bad news. Everyone knew that. "They're getting bolder," someone said. "We must stop them." "With what?" Another voice called out. "Our weapons are no match for theirs." The room erupted in arguments. Jack raised his hand, trying to speak, but no one noticed him. Suddenly, a loud boom shook the building. Alarms blared. A hologram appeared, showing a massive fleet of sharp, black ships entering the system. "The Drachnids," someone screamed. "They're here." Panic swept through the room. Aliens ran in all directions, their earlier mockery forgotten in their fear. Jack stood up, his mind racing. Earth was far away, but not safe. If the Drachnids took over here, they'd come for his home next. As chaos reigned, Jack slipped out of the hall. He had to warn Earth. Maybe, just maybe, those crazy scientists back home had finished their secret project. It was a long shot, but it might be the galaxy's only hope. Jack ran to his ship, determination in his eyes. The jokes had ended. Now, it was time for humanity to show what it could really do. As he fired up the engines, Jack looked back at the panicking aliens. "Laugh all you want," he muttered, "but you haven't seen anything yet." His ship shot into space, racing against time. Behind him, the Drachnid fleet loomed ever closer, their weapons ready to strike. The galaxy was about to learn that sometimes the smallest planets hold the biggest surprises. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a secret lab known only as Project Starbreaker, Dr. Emily Chen paced nervously. Screens all around her flashed with complex equations and 3D models of impossible shapes. Her team of brilliant but quirky scientists worked furiously at their stations. Come on," Emily muttered, staring at the main screen. It showed a simulation of their experimental ship trying to breach the 7th dimension. For the 100th time, it failed. "Maybe we should take a break," suggested Dr. Raj Patel, rubbing his tired eyes. "We've been at this for 72 hours straight." Emily shook her head. "No time. Did you see the news? The Drachnids are on the move. If we don't crack this soon, there might not be an Earth to save." Just then, alarms blared. A voice came over the speakers. Incoming transmission from Galactic Council. Priority 1. The main screen switched to show Jack Henderson's worried face. Emily, thank God you're there. We got big trouble. Emily's heart sank. The Drachnids. Jack nodded grimly. They just attacked the council. It's chaos out here. How close are you to finishing the ship? Emily hesitated. How could she tell him they were still failing? We're working on it, she said weakly. Jack's face fell. Work faster. Earth might be next, and our regular defenses won't stand a chance. The transmission cut off abruptly. Silence fell over the lab. Then, a snort of laughter broke out. It was Dr. Zhou Wang, the team's resident chaos theorist. What's so funny? Emily demanded. Zhou grinned. Don't you see? We've been the galaxy's biggest joke, and now they're all counting on us to save them. It's hilarious. Hilarious. Raj looked bewildered. We're on the brink of annihilation. Exactly. Zhou jumped up, her eyes wild with excitement. We've been trying to follow the rules of physics. But what if the joke's on us? What if we need to break the rules? Emily frowned. What are you suggesting? Zhou ran to the main computer, her fingers flying over the keyboard. We've been trying to breach the 7th dimension from our 3D perspective. But what if we think from the 7th dimension's perspective instead? The screens lit up with new calculations. The team watched in awe as the simulated ship began to flicker and shift. It's working, Raj shouted. The ship, it's phasing between dimensions. Emily couldn't believe her eyes. Zhou, you mad genius. Quick, everyone. Let's implement these changes on the real ship. The lab burst into frenzied activity. As they worked, news reports streamed in. The Drachnid fleet was moving faster than anyone had predicted. Colonies were falling. The galactic community was in panic. Hours passed in a blur. Finally, Emily stood before a sleek, silvery ship that seemed to shimmer in and out of reality. It's ready, she breathed. But who's going to fly it? The lab doors burst open. Jack Henderson strode in, looking haggard but determined. I will, he said. Emily blinked in surprise. Jack, how did you get here so fast? He managed a tired smile. Let's just say I called in every favor Earth had. So, this is our secret weapon. Emily nodded. The XS-01 Starbreaker. It can traverse not just space, but dimensions themselves. Jack whistled. Impressive. But will it be enough to stop the Drachnids? Honestly, we don't know, Emily admitted. This technology, it's beyond anything we've ever created. Its full capabilities are a mystery even to us. Alarms blared again. A voice announced, Alert! Drachnid ships detected entering Sol system. Jack's face hardened. Well, looks like we're about to find out what this baby can do. Who's with me? Emily stepped forward. You'll need a science officer who understands this tech. I'm in. One by one, the other scientists volunteered. Raj, Zhou, and others, each bringing unique skills. As they boarded the Starbreaker, Zhou chuckled again. You know, the real joke might be on the Drachnids. They have no idea what's coming for them. The ship's engines hummed to life, a sound like nothing ever heard before. As it rose, it seemed to flicker in and out of existence. Emily took a deep breath. All right, team. Let's go save the galaxy. And maybe tell a few jokes of our own along the way. With a flash of light and a ripple in reality, the Starbreaker vanished, racing to meet humanity's greatest threat head-on. The Starbreaker erupted into normal space just beyond Mars' orbit. The ship's crew, still adjusting to the dizzying effects of dimensional travel, stared in horror at the scene before them. A massive Drachnid warship, easily 10 times the size of Earth's largest vessel, loomed over the red planet. Smaller ships swarmed around it like angry wasps, their weapons leaving glowing trails in the void. My God, Jack whispered, his hands tight on the controls. They're already here. Emily's fingers flew over her console. I'm detecting multiple breaches in Mars' defense grid. The colony. It's gone dark. Zoe peered at her own readings. Guys, we've got company. 3 Drachnid fighters, coming in hot. Jack gritted his teeth. Hold on, everyone. Let's see what this ship can really do. The Starbreaker twisted in space, moving in ways that defied conventional physics. Drachnid energy beams passed harmlessly through where the ship had been milliseconds before. How are you doing that? Raj asked, clutching his seat. Jack grinned, despite the tension. I'm not. The ship, it's like it's anticipating their moves before they make them. Emily's eyes widened. Of course, it's perceiving time non-linearly through the higher dimensions. A Drachnid fighter exploded as it collided with its own energy beam, fired at where the Starbreaker would have been in a normal fight. Ah, Zoe cheered. Not so fun when you're the butt of the joke, is it? But their victory was short-lived. The massive Drachnid warship turned its attention to them, its weapons charging. Evasive maneuvers, Jack yelled, but Emily grabbed his arm. Wait, I have an idea. Zoe, remember how we breached the 7th dimension? Can we do that to their ship? Zoe's fingers danced over her controls. Theoretically, yes, but oh, that's brilliantly evil. I love it. The Starbreaker's engines hummed, and reality seemed to bend around the Drachnid warship. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a silent flash, the massive ship simply vanished. Where did it go? Jack asked, stunned. Emily allowed herself a small smile. Nowhere, and everywhere. We basically turned it inside out through 11 dimensions. Well, let's just say it's not our problem anymore. Cheers erupted on the bridge, but they were cut short by a priority message from Earth. The grim face of Admiral Chen, Emily's mother, appeared on screen. I don't know what you just did, she said, but we saw it from here. Good work, but this fight is far from over. We're detecting Drachnid ships entering systems all across the galaxy. They're launching a full-scale invasion. The mood on the Starbreaker sobered instantly. Jack straightened in his chair. What are our orders, Admiral? Admiral Chen's face was grim. You're our best hope, maybe the galaxy's only hope. Your mission is to push back the Drachnid forces wherever you find them. Show the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of. As the transmission ended, the crew of the Starbreaker looked at each other. The weight of their responsibility settled heavily on their shoulders. Well, Raj said, breaking the silence, I guess this is where the Earth strikes back. Zoe nodded. Yeah, no more jokes at our expense. It's time to show the galaxy what humans can really do. Jack took a deep breath and addressed his crew. All right, team. We've got a galaxy to save. It won't be easy. We're outnumbered, outgunned, and facing an enemy that's terrorized the stars for centuries. But we've got 2 things they don't. This ship and the human spirit. Throughout our history, we've faced impossible odds, and we've always found a way to overcome them. Today, we carry that legacy to the stars. Emily added, we're not just fighting for Earth anymore. We're fighting for every race, every planet that's ever been bullied or oppressed by the Drachnids. It's time to end their reign of terror. The Starbreaker's engines hummed to life, reality rippling around it. Jack's hands steadied on the controls. All right, where to first? Zoe's console beeped. I'm picking up a distress signal from Proxima Centauri. Drachnid ships are attacking the colony there. Jack nodded. Then that's where we're headed. Crew of the Starbreaker, prepare for dimensional jump. Let's go make history. With a flash of light and a twist of reality, the Starbreaker vanished, racing to its next battle. The era of humanity being the galaxy's punchline had ended. Now, a new chapter was beginning. One where humans would be the heroes of their own cosmic story. The Starbreaker burst into existence above Proxima Centauri, the first exoplanet colonized by humans. The scene that greeted them was chaos. Drachnid ships swarmed around the small blue-green world, their weapons reducing the colony's defenses to rubble. "Status report," Jack barked, his hands dancing over the controls. Emily's voice was tense. "Colony shields at 12% and falling. I'm picking up thousands of life signs on the surface. Mixed species. Humans, Arcturians, even some Zeta Reticulans." Raj chimed in. "Drachnid flagship detected. It's massive. Makes the one at Mars look like a toy." Jack gritted his teeth. "All right, people. Let's show them what happens when you mess with Earth's friends. Zoe, can we pull that dimension-flipping trick again?" Zoe shook her head, her wild hair flying. "Not on that big boy. It's got some kind of dimensional stabilizer. Clever bugs." "Then we do this the old-fashioned way," Jack said. "Emily, divert all power to weapons. Raj, plot me a course right through the heart of their fleet." The crew looked at him like he'd gone mad. "You can't be serious," Raj said. Jack's grin was fierce. "Oh, I am. When I say now, everyone hold on to something and pray to whatever you believe in." The Starbreaker shot forward, a silver bullet aimed at the heart of the Drachnid armada. Enemy ships scattered, their commanders too stunned by the human vessel's audacity to react. "Now," Jack yelled. Reality twisted. The Starbreaker seemed to stretch, then multiply. Suddenly, there were dozens of Starbreakers, each one solid and real, each one on a collision course with a different Drachnid ship. Explosions blossomed in space as the phantom Starbreakers struck home. When the blast cleared, half the Drachnid fleet was gone. Inside the real Starbreaker, the crew picked themselves up off the floor. What just happened?" Emily asked, her voice shaky. Zoe's eyes were wide with excitement. "We existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. We were everywhere and everyone at once. A little warning next time, Captain," Raj groaned, rubbing his head. But their victory was short-lived. The Drachnid flagship, unscathed, turned its massive bulk towards them. A beam of energy, darker than the space around it, lanced out. "Evasive maneuvers," Jack yelled, but it was too late. The beam struck the Starbreaker. Alarms blared. "Hull breach in Section 3. Emily shouted. "We're venting atmosphere." "Seal it off," Jack ordered. "Zoe, what was that weapon?" Zoe's fingers flew over her console. "Some kind of anti-dimensional ray. It's disrupting our connection to the higher dimensions." The ship rocked as another blast narrowly missed them. Jack's mind raced. They couldn't run. The colony below still needed their help. They couldn't fight. Their greatest advantage had been neutralized. Then, in a moment of clarity, Jack had an idea. "Emily, can we send a message to the colony?" Emily nodded, confused. "Yes, but why?" "Do it," Jack cut her off. "Tell them to brace for impact, and apologize in advance." As Emily sent the message, Jack turned to Zoe. "Remember how you said we need to think from the seventh dimension's perspective? Well, what if we think from the first dimension's perspective instead?" Zoe's eyes widened. "Compress all our dimensions into one. That's insane. We'd be like a cosmic string, a line of infinite density." "Exactly," Jack said. "Can you do it?" Zoe hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "God help us all," she muttered, and began the calculations. The Drachnid flagship loomed closer, its weapons charging for a killing blow. On the colony below, people of a dozen species huddled in shelters, praying for a miracle. "Ready," Zoe shouted. Jack took a deep breath. "Do it." The universe seemed to hold its breath. Then, with a sound like reality itself tearing, the Starbreaker collapsed. Not into a point, but into a line. A brilliant, one-dimensional streak that cut across space. It passed through the Drachnid flagship like it wasn't there. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a silent flash, the massive ship split perfectly in two. As the Drachnid ship fell apart, the Starbreaker snapped back into its normal form. Inside, The crew stared in disbelief at what they'd just done. Did we just slice a ship a kilometer long in half? Raj asked, his voice faint. I think we did more than that, Emily said, checking her readings. That line. It cut through everything in its path. Half the remaining Drachnid fleet is just gone. As the realization of their victory sank in, cheers erupted from the colony below. The Drachnids, their fleet in ruins, began a hasty retreat. Jack slumped in his chair, exhausted but grinning. Well, team, I think we just changed the course of the war. Zoe laughed, a touch of hysteria in her voice. When the Drachnids tell this story, I bet it won't be so funny to them. As the Starbreaker moved to assist the colony, the crew knew that this was just the beginning. The galaxy was watching, and the age of human jokes had ended. Now, it was time for humanity to write its own punchline in the stars. The news of the Starbreaker's victory at Proxima Centauri spread across the galaxy faster than light. Aliens who had once mocked humans now watched in awe as footage of the battle played on every screen and holoprojector. On board the Starbreaker, however, the mood was far from celebratory. The crew sat in the ship's small mess hall, nursing cups of synthetic coffee and grappling with the enormity of what they'd done. We killed thousands, Emily said softly, staring into her cup. Maybe millions, if you count all the ships we erased when we went one-dimensional. Jack nodded grimly. I know, but how many millions more did we save? The colony, Earth, maybe the whole galaxy. Zoe, usually bubbly and excitable, was uncharacteristically quiet. I never thought my crazy theories would lead to this. We're weapons now, the most powerful weapons in the galaxy. Raj put a comforting hand on her shoulder. We're more than that. We're explorers, scientists. We're humanity's best hope. Their somber reflection was interrupted by a priority message. Admiral Chen's face appeared on the mess hall screen, her expression a mix of pride and concern. Congratulations on your victory, she said, but I'm afraid there's no time to rest. We're getting reports of Drachnid activity all across the sector. They're regrouping, and they're angry. Jack straightened in his chair. What are our orders, Admiral? Your primary mission remains the same. Push back the Drachnid forces and protect our allies. But there's more. She paused, her expression grave. The Galactic Council has requested a demonstration of the Starbreaker's capabilities. They're concerned about the balance of power. Emily frowned. They're afraid of us. Admiral Chen nodded. Can you blame them? In one battle, you've done more damage to the Drachnids than the combined fleets of a dozen advanced races. Some are calling you heroes. Others, well, let's just say not everyone is comfortable with the idea of humans wielding this kind of power. Jack looked around at his crew, seeing the weight of responsibility in their eyes. We understand, Admiral. We'll do what needs to be done. As the transmission ended, the crew of the Starbreaker sat in silence, each lost in their own thoughts. Finally, Raj spoke up. You know, my grandfather used to tell me stories about the old days on Earth, about how humans would fight each other over the pettiest things. Race, religion, borders on a map. Zoe nodded. Yeah, mine too. It's hard to believe we were ever like that, looking at us now. Emily smiled sadly. Maybe that's why we're here. All those centuries of fighting each other, it prepared us for this, to fight for something bigger than ourselves. Jack stood up, his voice filled with determination. That's exactly it. This ship, this power, it's not just ours. It belongs to every human who dreamed of the stars, every scientist who pushed the boundaries of what's possible, every kid who looked up at the night sky and wondered what if. He walked to the window, gazing out at the stars. The Drachnids, the Galactic Council, they all thought they knew what humans were capable of. They put us in a box, made us the punchline of their cosmic joke. Well, now it's our turn to show them who we really are. The others joined him at the window, a new sense of purpose filling the room. So what's our next move, Captain? Raj asked. Jack's eyes gleamed with determination. First, we show the Council exactly what this ship can do. Not to scare them, but to inspire them. To show them that with this power, we can explore further, understand more, and protect better than ever before. Zoe grinned, some of her old excitement returning. Ooh, I have some ideas for that. How about we use the ship to create a temporary pocket dimension? We could solve their overcrowding problems in half the galaxies. Emily nodded. Her scientific curiosity piqued. And we could use our ability to perceive multiple timelines to help prevent natural disasters before they happen. Exactly, Jack said. We'll show them that this ship isn't just a weapon. It's a tool for peace, for progress, for understanding the universe in ways we never thought possible. Raj chuckled. And if the Drachnids decide to crash our little demonstration? Jack's smile was fierce. Then we remind them why picking a fight with humans is a very, very bad idea. As the Starbreaker prepared to jump to its next destination, the crew felt a renewed sense of purpose. They were no longer just fighting a war. They were redefining humanity's place in the galaxy. The ship hummed to life, reality bending around it. In a flash of light, it vanished, racing towards its date with destiny. The era of human jokes had ended. The age of human legends was about to begin. The Starbreaker materialized in the heart of the Galactic Council's space, a shimmering silver tear in the fabric of reality. Hundreds of ships from various alien races hung in space around them, a rainbow of designs and technologies all dwarfed by the human vessel's presence. Inside the Starbreaker, Jack took a deep breath. Showtime. Folks, let's give them a demonstration they'll never forget. Emily's fingers danced over her console. I'm detecting over 1,000 different species watching us right now. The entire galaxy has their eyes on us. Jack. Zoe grinned, her earlier somber mood replaced by excitement. Well then, let's not disappoint them. I've got some tricks up my sleeve that'll make their tentacles curl. Raj chuckled nervously. Just remember, we're here to inspire, not terrify. Jack nodded, then opened a channel to the assembled fleet. Greetings, representatives of the Galactic Council. We are the crew of the Earthship Starbreaker. We're here to demonstrate the capabilities of our seventh dimension technology and to extend a hand of friendship to all peaceful races in the galaxy. There was a moment of silence, then a chorus of responses in 100 different languages flooded their comms. The universal translator struggled to keep up. Impossible technology. Threat to the galactic order. Our saviors from the Drachnid menace. Jack held up a hand, and surprisingly, the chatter died down. We understand your concerns and your excitement. Let us show you what humanity and this ship can truly do. With a nod to Zoe, Jack initiated the first demonstration. The Starbreaker began to glow, then suddenly split into a dozen identical copies. Each copy zipped to a different part of the assembled fleet, passing through ships as if they were ghosts. Gasps of awe echoed through the comms. Jack's voice rang out again. As you can see, we can exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. This allows us to be anywhere, anytime, without the limitations of traditional space travel. Emily took over, but our technology isn't just for movement or warfare. Observe. She pressed a button, and a shimmering field expanded from the Starbreaker, enveloping a nearby asteroid field. In seconds, the chaotic rocks reorganized themselves into a habitable small planet, complete with atmosphere and water. We can manipulate matter and energy on a fundamental level, Emily explained. Terraforming, solving resource scarcity, reversing environmental damage. All of these are within our capabilities now. Zoe couldn't contain her excitement any longer. And check this out. With a whoop, she activated another system. The space around the Starbreaker seemed to fold in on itself, creating a swirling vortex of color and light. A pocket dimension, Zoe announced proudly. We can create spaces that exist outside normal space-time. Think of the research possibilities, the exploration potential. The assembled aliens watched in stunned silence as the Starbreaker continued its impossible feats. Ships that had come prepared for war powered down their weapons. Diplomats who had arrived ready to demand the humans be contained now whispered among themselves about alliances and cooperation. As the demonstration neared its end, Jack addressed the council again. "What you've seen today is just the beginning. We humans have always dreamed of the stars, of pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Now we invite you to dream with us, to explore with us, to build a better galaxy together." Suddenly, alarms blared on the Starbreaker's bridge. Raj's voice was tense. Multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. It's the Drachnids, a whole armada. Sure enough, a swarm of dark, angular ships materialized at the edge of the system. Their weapons were hot, primed to fire on the assembled galactic fleet. For a moment, panic threatened to overtake the gathered representatives. But then, something unexpected happened. Ships from a dozen different races moved to form a protective circle around the Starbreaker. A Zeta Reticulan captain's voice crackled over the comms. "Humans, you have shown us wonders beyond imagining. Now let us show you that you're not alone in this fight." An Arcturian battlecruiser joined in. "The Drachnids have terrorized this galaxy for too long. Together, we end this today." Jack felt a lump in his throat. He looked at his crew, saw the same emotion reflected in their eyes. This was more than they had ever hoped for. "Well then," he said, his voice thick with determination, "let's show the Drachnids what a united galaxy can do." As the Drachnid fleet closed in, the Starbreaker's engines hummed to life. But this time, they weren't alone. Hundreds of ships from across the galaxy fell into formation behind them, ready to make their stand. The seventh dimension ship had done more than demonstrate its power. It had united a galaxy. And as they prepared for battle, the crew of the Starbreaker knew that whatever happened next, the age of human jokes was well and truly over. The vast expanse of space erupted into chaos as the united galactic fleet engaged the Drachnid armada. Energy beams crisscrossed the void. Explosions bloomed like silent flowers, and ships danced in a deadly ballet of destruction. At the heart of it all, the Starbreaker moved with impossible grace. It phased in and out of reality, appearing where it was needed most, its weapons carving through Drachnid ships like they were made of paper. "Zeta Reticulan cruiser in trouble. 2 o'clock. Raj called out. Jack nodded, his hand steady on the controls. On it. The Starbreaker flickered, reappearing beside the beleaguered alien ship. A pulse of energy from its main cannon vaporized the attacking Drachnids. "Thanks, humans." The Zeta Reticulan captain's voice crackled over the comms. "We owe you one." But for every Drachnid ship they destroyed, 2 more seemed to take its place. The galactic fleet, while brave, was being pushed back. Emily's voice was tense. "Jack, at this rate, we can't win. There's just too many of them." Zoe spun in her chair, eyes wild with an idea. "What if we don't fight them here? What if we take the fight to them, everywhere?" Jack raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" "The 7th dimension isn't just about space," Zoe explained rapidly. "It's about time, too. What if we attack the Drachnids across their entire history?" Emily's eyes widened. "You mean?" Zoe nodded. "Every Drachnid ship, every base, every colony, all at once throughout time. We end this war before it even begins." Raj looked concerned. "But the temporal implications." "We don't have a choice," Jack said grimly. "If we don't do this, the galaxy falls today." "Emily, can we do it?" Emily's fingers flew over her console. "Theoretically, yes, but we'd need more power than we've ever used before. We might burn out the ship's systems. And ourselves with it," Raj added quietly. Jack looked at each of his crew members in turn, saw the determination in their eyes. "We knew the risks when we took this mission. If this is our last stand, let's make it count. For Earth, for the galaxy." They all nodded. Jack opened a channel to the Allied fleet. "All ships, This is the Starbreaker. Fall back to a safe distance. We're about to end this war. As the Allied ships retreated, the Starbreaker began to glow. Reality seemed to bend around it, space and time twisting in ways that hurt to look at. Inside, the ship's systems screamed in protest. Sparks flew from consoles, and the air grew thick with ozone. "Now, Zoe," Jack yelled over the din. Zoe slammed her hand down on a glowing panel. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, with a sound like the universe itself tearing, the Starbreaker vanished. In that instant, across time and space, every Drachnid ship, base, and colony experienced the same thing. A silver ship appearing out of nowhere, weapons blazing, before vanishing again. Decades of military buildup were undone in seconds. Fleets were destroyed before they were built. Colonies were neutralized before they were founded. In the present, the Drachnid Armada simply winked out of existence. One moment they were there, pressing their attack. The next, gone, as if they had never been. The Starbreaker reappeared in the midst of the stunned Allied fleet, its hull scorched and sparking. Inside, the crew picked themselves up off the floor, battered but alive. Did it work?" Raj asked, his voice hoarse. Emily checked her readings, then broke into a wide grin. "It worked. The Drachnids, they're gone. All of them." Cheers erupted across the comms as the Allied fleet realized what had happened. Ships of all shapes and sizes moved to surround the Starbreaker, not in threat, but in celebration. Jack opened a channel to the fleet. "This victory belongs to all of us. Humans, Zeta Reticulans, Arcturians, and every race that stood against tyranny. Today, we've shown that together, we can overcome any threat." As the Galactic representatives began discussing peace treaties and reconstruction efforts, the crew of the Starbreaker sat back, exhausted but proud. "So," Zoe said with a tired grin, "not bad for a bunch of primitive humans, huh?" Emily laughed. "I'd say we've officially graduated from galactic jokes to galactic legends." Raj nodded. "And we've only just begun. Think of all we can accomplish with this technology, now that we're at peace." Jack smiled, looking out at the assembled fleet. No longer alien ships, but allies, friends. "You're right. This isn't the end of our journey. It's just the beginning." As the Starbreaker prepared to lead the fleet back to Earth, Jack couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Humanity had been underestimated, mocked, and dismissed. But when it mattered most, they had shown their true might. Not just in warfare, but in unity, in innovation, in the unquenchable spirit that had driven them to the stars. The seventh dimension ship had indeed showed its might, and in doing so, it had ushered in a new age for the galaxy. An age of exploration, cooperation, and endless possibility. The joke was over. The legend had just begun.